I know you have a lot of women that work in your office. And I was also told that you favor some over others. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. Let's get it popping.
Good evening, folks. Freddy Vasquez with Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, Sammy, Tasha, and elementary school politics.
I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. I know you have a lot of women. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy.
Yes, that's right. That's the voice of the Majority Leader, Tasha Diaz, speaking to Building Department Commissioner Sam Borrelli yesterday, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I also wanted to discuss politics in schools. What do you feel about that? Should children go to school to learn about politics or political beliefs, political views, and ideologies? Sorry, fixing my earpiece there. First, I want to shout out to the DPW guys that recognized me and said hello to me and said they liked the show. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate it that you watched the show. I was a little nervous. I didn't know if you guys would be mad at me. I'll be honest. I didn't know. You guys are big, kind of skinny. You guys are big. But you guys appreciated the show, liked it a lot. So shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Well, today was quite eventful. I started my day by heading out to YMA, where I went to see my daughter perform at some show there. It was great. I loved it. I said hello to Reverend Lopez. He was there also in attendance. And I thought it was a wonderful show. However, I left thinking about the way the show started. I'll get more into that in a few. I also stopped by the Ukrainian Center today to check out the event that was going on there, the luncheon for the seniors. I hear that the event is put on every year and is organized by County Legislator David Tubiolo. That's what he told me when I spoke to him for a few minutes. I also want to mention County Legislator Jimmy Nolan was there as well. Christopher Johnson, the mayor, was there. He made his rounds. He spoke to, some of the individuals that were there, took some pictures. I also saw the Majority Leader. Tasha Diaz was there. I know she spoke. I didn't get a chance to see that. And I also saw the highest paid aide in Yonkers, Brenton Bullock, who he looked at me. Didn't seem like a friendly look. Sorry about that, man. Anyway, speaking of the Majority Leader, sources are saying the council is upset with her, but have yet to decide whether or not they're going to vote in another Majority Leader. However, I believe it's already been set. I think the plans have been put in motion. I played a clip from yesterday's Rules Committee meeting where the Majority Leader spoke to Sam Borrelli, the new commissioner of the infamous building department, and she spoke to him in what could only be described as rude and disrespectful. Her public humiliation of Sam Borrelli did not sit well with some, and as a result has almost certainly sealed her faith politically. Why would she choose to address Mr. Borrelli in the manner that she did? Why? Why did she choose to speak to him and bring that up at that time? She did it during a Public Rules Committee meeting, and it could only be attributed to the type of individual that the Majority Leader is or chooses to be. She attempts to justify it as demanding, but everyone else sees someone who is unprofessional and extremely underqualified for her role in city government. That being said, some have wondered if Zahi Jeris put her up to it. They said, I saw a comment there, said it was Zahi Jeris who had her attack Sam Borrelli like that. Right? So maybe that's a possibility. Maybe it's just who she is, but it's a good possibility, and I'll tell you why. Was it, public shaming by Jeris, for not providing him with special access to the building department for quick permit approvals? I've spoken about that in past podcasts. I've had people mention how Zahi Jeris has a permit scheme there that he gets, paid depending on where you are in the process. All right, so I'll tell you about that in a little bit. The Majority Leader mentioned her gripe with Sammy, as she called him, as she referred to him at one point. And she was upset that he did not respond to her request to look into a permit application for a church that had reached out to her. That's what she claims. She goes on to ask him or accuse him of having a problem with women. So she says, "Did you not respond because I'm a woman? People have said that you may, have issues with women." And to mention that in a public rules meeting, committee meeting, I thought it was just very unprofessional, the wrong place. And look, I'm not the biggest fan of Sam Borrelli, right? I've had my issues with the building department, you know, glad it's done, but I've had it, right? And you guys see my videos up in the building department, but, we still have to do things, in a professional manner, especially if you are the majority leader and you are demanding accountability and all this other stuff from other people. So to go up there and accuse him. So I looked at that as maybe as public shaming, right? Mentioning him about women and stuff. And something I've also talked about, maybe other people have talked about it, because he just was not having it. She reached out to him for a church on, in order to see what's going on with their permits. And he probably didn't respond because no one should get that privilege, right? Who do you think you are? You're a councilwoman, so you should just, have, your permit or whatever you're looking into pulled out of the, order, looked into and approved right away. That's not how it works. And I know because when I was having my permit issues, I reached out to Mike Brink, I reached out to Anthony Moranti, and we've even reached out to the majority leader who said she was going to come by and never did. Right. She also says that she believes council members should get a la carte treatment. A la carte is French for by the card, something you often see at higher end or higher price restaurants like, high end steakhouses where the menu is a la carte, meaning that everything is sold individually, right? You get a $70 steak, but you have to pay another $15 for the potato, another $15 for the broccoli. And if you want that salad that usually comes with your meal at Long John or whatever, Longhorn or whatever it's called, right? That's another $20 right there. Right. So she's referring to a la carte. Maybe she's recently been attending these high-end, restaurants. And now she wants to use the fancy words that she sees on the menu, not realizing that it's referring to food menus primarily. Right. But it has nothing to do with building department and council people. But she feels that she should be treated a la carte, meaning she should get special privileges. I think that's what she was wanting to say without saying that exact word. I believe council members should get special privileges in the building department, right? So the majority leader either thinks she's at Benjamin's or Fleming's, or she could not find another word to use instead of saying council members should be treated differently by being given special treatment. She wants the commissioner to select the applications that she calls them up about out of the queue, right? Because it's a long line. It's a lot of people like me and my clients who are waiting for a very long time, right? So she wants to be able to call them up, have him pull that app out of the queue, out of the order, whenever she calls them on behalf of her constituents. I'm confused though, right? Is that even allowed? Is that legal, ethical, moral, right? Because I know from experience that, again, I've reached out to council members and asked them to help me out with that, and they didn't do anything. So I didn't think that they could do anything about it, or maybe they didn't want to do anything about it, and they can. But I didn't think they could. But she wants to have that special privilege, that special access to Sam Borrelli. So because she didn't get that access, she berates him and she publicly shames him and accuses him publicly of being or mistreating women or having some issue with women by not responding to her. Do you know what this sounds like to me? This is what it sounds like, especially after someone had mentioned that Zahi Jerris might have put her up to it, right? It sounds like they want her, they want to have access so that they can continue their scheme, their money-making scheme, which I've been told about, where if you need a permit and you go to Mr. Jerris, according to sources, you can pay him $5,000 to get your permit right away if you are in the beginning stages. Now, if you have already started the process, then you can pay $2,500 and they will assist you in getting your permit pushed through. Zahi Jerris is the man behind the majority leader. And another interesting thing that I should just realize today, I'm not sure why, but Sandy Anabi was also the Democratic majority leader. I don't know why. I didn't realize that. Maybe I did and I forgot about it. But so there's that scheme there. And in fact, I was told that a woman was actually shaken down over it, the District 4. She was opening up her business, and then she was told to shut down, right? Or the councilman of the 4th District, John Rubel, saw her on a Saturday. By Monday, she had the building department there shutting her down. However, they gave her a special deal or special offer. If she paid $5,000, she can get her permits right away. Or I believe it was $2,500. And she paid, but she has a record of this. And she didn't like it. She felt like, this was a mob thing, organized crime. And she got shaken down as a single mom trying to open up a business, right? So Tasha, dear, who told you to do this? Who told you to come out in the Rules Committee meeting and say this? I guarantee, Tasha, I guarantee you, one day you will look back and you will say Freddy was right. You will say I was right. He was telling me all along what I did not see. And you going to have wished that you did. And I may not say it in the nicest way, but I don't say it in the meanest way. I just am upfront. You're being played. You're being used. You're not a queen, Tasha. You are a pawn. Pawn. All pawn. Again, you may not realize what you said yesterday, but it wasn't in your best interest. Not at all, Tasha. Not at all. Time for new management. Time for new management, Tasha. You need new people behind you. Call me. Call me. Because in all reality, I don't want to see you fail. I want to see you win. You are a Black woman. You are a minority. You are a human being. And I want to see you win. But I don't like what you're doing in your attempts to win. And it's causing you to lose. So you need new management, and I'm willing to come help you. Change things around. Do things a little bit differently. Right? Help you make better decisions. Because that was not smart. That was not smart. Publicly shaming Sam Borrelli like that, it's not smart. And for many reasons. Many, many, many reasons. Right? So anyway, this it's politics though. It's all politics, But anyway, I want to move on because I don't want to get on too much on Tasha Diaz because they say that I for some reason, I'm always attacking her. I'm not attacking you. I'm just calling it out. I'm calling it like I see it. And unfortunately, you doing things like that, you give me damn near an entire podcast. Okay? So don't do things like that. Don't go on there and disrespect somebody like that. The man's older than you too. Just have respect. All right? You may not like him for whatever reason, but you still have to respect him. Right? Hello. Hello. Hola, ¿cómo está? ¿Está bien? Dile a mi abuela que say hello. She's so ghetto. Get rid of her. And that's what they're looking to do. However, I heard from some sources that they're still not doing it, but they are on the verge. However, I don't believe that. I think they already are moving in that direction. No special privileges. Absolutely. No one gets special privileges. Nobody. But Tasha believes she is different, and that she is. Is it worth special privileges different? That I don't know. That's the problem with Yonkers. Man, that's a lot of problem with Yonkers. And one of those problems is politics in the schools. I don't like it. And hey, I do a podcast, Basement Politics, right? I love to talk about politics, just not in the schools, not in the elementary schools. No, not anymore, right? There are moments in life that are precious times where it shouldn't be about politics, right? Lately, it seems like our children have been the latest demographic targeted by politicians, advocacy groups, and anyone looking to instill some kind of thought or idea or message into our society. And they're doing it through our children. Doesn't it feel like our children are under attack? Seems like our kids are being targeted with all kinds of stuff, trauma, these vaccines, pandemic, and everything else, a lockdown, school lockdowns, the mask. Poor kids. As I mentioned earlier today, I attended a play at my children's school. And as usual, I got there, looked for my daughter. I have to look for her. She wants to make sure that I'm there, right? So I can wave at her, and let her know daddy's here. Daddy's here. And her face lit up. So it's all worth it to me, And I, take a half hour, 45 minutes out of my day to make her smile like that. Is all worth it. And I sat down. I eagerly awaited for the show to start. And it did. It started with the Pledge of Allegiance, right, which I love, and the singing of the national anthem by a student. She did a great job, right? I loved it. And then there was this little girl who spoke first, and she was like the smallest one there, but she had the biggest personality, and she woke up the entire auditorium. She was awesome and amazing. To the little girl there, I don't know if it maybe her parents, family member, somebody knows her. Yo, she's dope. I like her. Amazing. Her personality was great. She's got to keep going with it. She has a great personality for being on the stage. Right. However, I did not like what was the political messaging at the beginning by staff, and I'm not going to say who specifically. They spoke about the Ukraine, incident and what's going on there, and the tragedy in Texas, and we even took a time for a moment of silence. Right. But first, I want to say I'm not, you know, it's not about my beliefs, right? It's not about what I believe, whether I agree with the Ukraine thing or disagree, or any, Texas and guns and all that. It's not about that. It's just, I believe that it should be left out of the schools, right? Out of the elementary schools. This is a play for the kids that they've worked on, they practice on. Parents are coming there, wanting to just get away from it all, right? We want to forget about the politics, forget about work, forget about the negative stuff, things that just are all over on social media, on our phones, in at work, among colleagues and stuff, and just be with our kids in a moment of just happiness, right? So I don't like it to be brought up, and then also for it to have a kind of a specific message to give someone a certain perception or belief or view. It's not so much general. Right. So I think it should just be taken out of, that's my thing, taken out of school, period. Right. And I want to talk about a couple bills that are in, the Senate and the Assembly. One of those bills is Bill 6166. And I will show that there. And that's actually being supported by Nader Sayegh. Just in case you want to know that, he is up for re-election. Mike Breen is challenging him, the only guy. So it'll just be a general election run. And this is in the Assembly now. It talks about requires comprehensive sexuality instructions for students in grades K through 12, which includes a model curricula for comprehensive sexuality education, and at a minimum conforms to the content and scope of national sexuality education standards, whatever that means. And and a lot of it has to do with the transgender sexual education, and the different binary and whatever. So and I'm not against any of it, and it's not my belief on that. It's just my kids, right? This is my kids, and kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, they should be just free of that stuff. It's already, they're already being bombarded on, internet, everywhere they go. These cartoons now are, even more violent, more sexualized. Kids shows are more violent, more sexualized. And it just seems like, where our kids are becoming more sexualized and desensitized to violence at an earlier age. And that ultimately results in, gun violence from young people. There is a correlation. They're constantly being bombarded with violence, and sexual images. That's going to be in their mind. So I just think that maybe we need to keep our kids, that stuff out of our schools. It's a place where they go to become educated, not indoctrinated. Right. And that's just my thing. And they took 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm like, I got to get back to work, first of all, too. So to take time, giving your view and stuff on a matter that's political, at a school play, when we just want to be there to hit a play so we can get up out of it and get back to work. I just think it's not the appropriate time to do that. You make it sound like they're putting together a plan to teach kids how to. No, I'm not saying that they're making a plan to teach kids how to have sex. That's not what I'm saying. Thank God, geez, if that was the case, I really have an issue with it. No, it's not that. It's just that they're kids. Right. I work with kids. I work with kids for a very long time, in my years of living on this planet, not just, kids within my own family, but actually in professional settings. And, like 9-year-olds aren't doing the same thing that I was doing when I was 9. Right. They're doing more advanced stuff, when it comes to like sexual stuff and violence. Right. And even me growing up in the hood where we saw, there was violence, I still, wasn't at the same space some of the 9-year-olds now, and the things that they know now because of the access that they have to this information and this stuff. And on top of that, now they want to just shove it, in their faces. Right. So I just feel like we got to let kids still play with Barbies and Ninja Turtles for as long as possible, and not get them to start to think about this stuff. Right. Because then they're going to come home and they're going to have questions. Right. Then it's not going to stop and at school. They're going to come home and say, hey, Mom, guess what I learned? I learned this and I learned that. And then, we have to now engage in a conversation that maybe, we didn't want to have at that time. We didn't want to have with our kids just yet. Maybe we regulate things at home so we can keep them away from things like that, right? So, there should be some respect for parental rights. That's just, what I'm saying. I'm against for the kids is being shoved down kids' throats. Enough is enough. And I agree. And there's studies out there. I mean, you can go, I don't watch TV, right? To me, it's just like, oh my God. And they got this whole thing on this January 6th investigation on every channel. And it's corporate media, and money corrupts everything. Bottom line, you see how hard politics are here in Yonkers, right? Why is it corrupt? It's not corrupt because they're getting ice cream, right? It's corrupt because of money. So money corrupts everything, media, everything, right? So, they're always trying to get us to, to think a certain way, and to get our kids, and they start early. That you shape a society for 10 years, 15 years down the line by impacting the young generation. That's how you get them, right? So I feel like it is being shoved down our throats, and we need to have, our parental rights protected. I mean, you see what they did with the vaccines in some states where they were allowing 12-year-olds to make the decision on their own to get the vaccine. And if their parents said, no, we didn't want it, they couldn't stop them legally. I mean, they're 12 years old. They can't vote. And that's a less, harmful. If they make a wrong decision there, it's not going to potentially kill them or give them a heart attack, right? But they let them make a choice like that. It just doesn't make sense. You have to think about it, think about it, plan. No, I get it. Yeah, learning differences too. But I don't think so. I don't think it's about, because we can teach kids to appreciate people's differences without having to teach them, anything to do with sexuality and stuff like that, right? We can just teach them to respect each other because we're human. We can just simply say, hey, everybody's different. People have different ideas, different, perception of things, different beliefs, different goals, whatever, different taste in music, clothes, whatever. It's just, people are just different, right? For the most part. And we should respect those differences, as long as they're respecting our differences, right? I don't believe anyone should not have a right to do what everyone else to do, regardless of what their sexual preference is, who they choose to marry, what color their skin, anything like that. I believe that, my personal belief, that anybody could do whatever the hell they want, as long as they don't bother me. If you ain't bothering me, I don't care what you do. You could free to do it, have fun, be happy, whatever floats your boat, as long as you're not infringing on my rights. So now, when you have this stuff kind of being, taught to our kids and almost, like it says, shoved down their throat, I feel like now that's an infringement on my right, my parental right. So where's my voice in that? That's just what I'm saying. What about gay kids? What about them? I mean, I'm sure we went to school with gay kids, when we were in high school. No one was attacking gay kids when I was in high school. We didn't make fun of gay kids when we were in high school. I never did. I didn't have friends. I never heard that. Right. I mean, really, I didn't, I mean, I'm not saying that people didn't use the F word, right? That, don't use anymore, but it was just not towards a gay person specifically, right? It wasn't like, and there were, I do remember a few kids in high school and even in middle school or junior high that were gay, and they were cool with everybody. Nobody bothered them. Nobody, and they were tough. I saw, a gay guy, and I'm not saying that, they beat up this one time was messy, beat him up right in front of everybody. So, I never looked at them like they were less than anyway, like they could fight, they could do everything else that anybody else could do. So, I don't believe in discriminating against anyone who's gay because they're gay. I think they should be able to do, and they're capable just as anybody else. And, if there is kids in school that are gay, then, again, people are different. That's just it. We don't have to be specifically get into what you like to do specifically that's different. I don't want to, just like I don't want to tell you or talk about, even heterosexual, activity. I mean, it's not just about gay sex or gay sexual preferences, any sexual preference, being talked about in kindergarten. So it's not just, I'm against the, gays sex, or it's straight sex too. I don't want my kids, seeing straight sex either. You know what I mean? Or being talking about straight sex, demonic. Come on. Did I say demonic? I didn't say demonic. Did someone say demonic? Kells, the destruction of family. There's there, we can go into the conspiracy theories, but there is the whole conspiracy theories. They put Planned Parenthood, the feminist movement, and the LGBTQ movement as three movements that one thing they have in common is that they stop reproduction, right? Because women and the feminist movement created, what the result was, a lot more women were going into the workforce. They said we could do things that men could do, and so they had less kids as a result, right? So some women didn't even have kids anymore because they were like, I'm gonna be a career woman, and that's what I want to do. Fine, whatever. And then you have Planned Parenthood, which it has the abortion thing. That's their primary business, is abortion. They don't plan anything; they just plan your abortion day, and that's it. And then and then LGBTQ. Obviously, your reproduction there cannot happen, which I think is great anyway, because there's a lot of kids that need to be adopted. So I think gay couples should have not preference, I guess, but they should, be like, hey, listen, because there's a lot of kids that need to be adopted, and that'd be great. But now, now we messing with science, and we can get people pregnant without having to do, you know what I mean? So I guess kids were bullied, beaten, stabbed in the 90s. But, but that happened to kids for a lot of reasons, though. It's not just because they were gay. Kids were beaten, stabbed, and bullied, because they were in a different gang, because they were Black, because they were Spanish, maybe because they were white, they were Irish. Violence is violence. Hate is hate. Hate, racism is just a form of hate, just like, being, bigot, or being, against, what is it? A homophobic, right? Or xenophobe, what is xenophobia? All those phobias, right? That's just all some kind of a form of hate ultimately, right? And unfortunately, humans have hate. We have this in our society, but it's just another form of hate. It's just, you hate them because their color, you hate them because their sexual preference. Some people just hate people because they're doing well in life, or some people hate people just because they're poor. They don't like poor people, so that's just unfortunately the ignorance of people. But again, it goes back to, let's just teach people to love. Let's just talk about love. If we talk about love, and we got to love each other no matter what, right? Then we don't have to be specific about being gay or being Black or being white or whatever. You love people because they're just people. They're humans. That's your fellow human being. So I think it should be like a message like that, and teaching tolerance, and teaching and teaching against hate. Teach love, not talk about the hate, and talk about the sexual. Teach us love. You got to love people. Got to love each other. Thomas J. Rooney, yeah, it shouldn't be in the school. Why? Africa don't have this issue. Many countries are against having a drag, possibly a convicted pedo, reading to a 6-year-old. Why Kim has, well, I don't want to say, that's, you can't make the correlation, to because someone's gay, that, or they're transgender, that they're a pedophile. I mean, I'm not going to make that correlation, or say that to be the case, because then I'll be generalizing, and then I can agree with people who say, oh, if you're Latino, you're lazy, because I hated that Puerto Ricans are lazy. I used to hate that. That's kind of why, I don't stop. People like, yo, you always doing something. Yeah, because I'm Puerto Rican, and I got to set an example that I'm not lazy. So I don't want to necessarily do that, and say that. I tell you who are pedos, though. A lot of our elected officials up in Washington, D.C., that's for sure. You want to talk about pedos, that, you got to look up at the top. I mean, there's even that whole famous thing with this gentleman by the name of Larry King. He was a Black man named Larry King. I believe it was in Montana or South Dakota, North Dakota, one of those states up there, where he was running a prostitution ring, pretty much, a call service for a high elected officials. He was bringing boys into the White House. It's a big thing. And that's a fact. It's a big thing. They just don't really talk about it. I don't know why. I don't respond. Yeah. I don't want to be like, super like, that's not the point. The point is really just about schools, right? And obviously anyone, regardless if they're straight, they're gay, they're transgender, should always be vetted by schools before they hire them, right? So I like to think that they check their background, make sure that there's it doesn't matter who they are and what their sexual preferences. So I don't think that would be the problem. I think the thing with me is just teaching it to kids at a certain age. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want my kids to just not have to think about that stuff, right? And there's videos of parents who were at board meetings who were upset. One woman said that her daughter came home upset and concerned that she was gonna turn into a boy or something like that, because they were talking about transgender sexuality, and they weren't told about it. The teacher just decided to read a book about it, and that upset some of the students, and the parents were upset. And that's what I mean. Like, I mean, you have to respect the parents' rights as much as you respect the rights of any member of that community, right? You have to respect the rights of the parents. It has to be a mutual respect. So with that being said, we have to find some, common things, or a resolution. We have to come to, because everybody's rights has to be respected. Everybody. We can't just disregard one person's right for, to say another person. You know what I mean? I don't think that's okay. You know, pedos are 94% straight males. Listen, I wouldn't doubt that. I say that because people aren't actually drag or transgender. They're convicted pedos using drags to cover up. They can change names with no problems. And that's a concern I've heard before. Maybe that's a valid, I guess, concern. I don't know if there's been cases or incidents like that. If there have been, then obviously that's a very real valid concern. But I would have to go back and see if there were any cases where someone actually did do that. But I know there's concerns with with the bathroom usage and male saying he's transgender but really doing that to go into a woman's bathroom in order to record them, because they do that. They have videos, like that's a thing. I guess people like to watch videos of people putting secret cameras or hidden cameras. I don't understand. There's so many weird. This is what I'm saying. It's getting so crazy nowadays. There's so many different weird things that people like. It's just blows my mind. And one thing I said just about the Pride Parade, because especially if you want to teach about tolerance and you want people to go to the Pride Parade that may not be part of the LGBTQ community, I think it should be toned down with the sexual stuff, right? I saw pictures. They got women that they'll have their breast out and stuff like that. I don't know if I would take my kids to that, right? So if I want to take my kids to that, to teach them about it, right, one day and say, hey, listen, it's that time now, whatever. Then I got to worry about somebody's booty and breast being out. I don't understand. I don't understand that part of the parade, right? I don't get that part. It'd be cool. I guess the Puerto Rican Day Parade, we could do that too. That'd be cool. I'm married, no, I'm joking, but I don't understand that part, right? What's with all that part about it? So somebody tell me, because I've always wondered why do people go naked sometimes, half naked there? If you want to include people that may, are not part of the community, maybe want to come out and know more about it, maybe you got to tone that part down. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's my point, is really just to get it out, out of the schools at such an early age. That's all I'm saying. I want to keep our kids innocent as long as possible, especially me, at least me. If people are okay with it, then that's their choice. That's fine. But I think it should be, parents. It should be left up to the parents at that age. I think it should be a parent's decision when they introduce, anything like that, whether it's, sexual, things with sexual content or violence or whatever it is that this crazy world has to offer. It should be up to the parents. And I believe that that's taking away parental rights in order to give another group rights. And that's not fair, is it? Although life's not fair, right? Life's not fair. Oh, man. And then there's Senate Bill S369 requires the Board of Education and trustees of every school district to establish policies and procedures regarding the treatment of transgender and gender non-conforming students. Gender non-conforming students. So those are the bills there. Now let's say, just a quick question. What if I thought I was a lion? Now I feel like I know I'm a human, but I was born a lion. Would I get special consideration for that? If I walked on my hands and knees, and if I bit somebody, would I still go to judge and say he's a lion? That's what he does. I'm Freddy Vasquez, folks. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. And leave me your comments. What do you think? I want to hear from you folks. And I've heard from a lot of you, but I want to hear from a lot of different people. What do you think about that? Should that be taught in schools in kindergarten up into third grade, which is what the bill's for? Well, they say K through 12, but kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. Should it be introduced to our kids? Should parents have the right to say, no, we don't want this, to introduce this to our kids at this time? Not that we're, against anyone, but we just, it's just a matter of how we are raising our kids, how we choose to raise our kids. We restrict them from things at home now, right? So, I mean, we have to be able to trust that when we send them to school, that we can still maintain that, the way we want to raise them, right? They should just be there to be educated. Teach them the ABCs, 1, 2, 3, right? Teach them penmanship so they can sign their names on petitions, please. Okay, that's what they need to be learning, right? And computer coding, really. Computer coding is very important. Very, very important. I'm glad I got into that early. Well, anyway, folks, I'm Freddy Vasquez. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Tomorrow at 2:30 is the Bernice Breckman ribbon cutting ceremony. Please, if you can make it. Let's support the seniors. You know, they supported us for a very long time, right? Without them, we would not be here. So we have to take care of our senior population, support and represent them. Remember, seniors are like wine. They only get better with age. And I learned that not too long ago at the Bernice Breckman Center. I'm Freddy Vasquez. Thank you, folks. Have a great night. Enjoy your Friday, TGIF. And hopefully I'll see you guys at the car show. Who's going to be there? Cross County Car Show, sponsored by the Yonkers Rotary Club. The Lamborghini experience. You want to take a nice blast in Lamborghinis, see how it feels to go from 0 to 60 in a Lamborghini Huracan V10, right? Come down to the car show. It will be from 10, I believe, till 3 or 10 to 4, something like that. I'm going to be there. The Lamborghini experience, sponsored by Basement Politics. And you can actually email or call the office and reserve your time slot between 10 and 3. If you're interested and you want to reserve a time when you know you're going to be there, you don't have to wait in line. Do that. And I hope to be doing this every year, as we hope to do this. Well, now I say we, the Yonkers Rotary in the city of Yonkers. I'm just going to be there. But I hope to do this Lamborghini thing every year at the car show. So please come on out, check us out, check out the Yonkers Rotary. Let's get together again, Yonkers, for another fun event. And let's have some, a great time, get to know each other, get to know me, and come take a ride with me, right? I plan on going for the ride will be from the Cross County parking lot. We'll take a blast up I-87 North, getting off at Ridge Hill, coming back on I-87 South. Nice little blast up to, we call it blast when blast, not going, the police are listening, not like speeding. I'm just saying, we blast up I-87 South to Hall Place, back on to I-87 North, and get back off at the Cross County. Nice little blast for anyone who's ever wanted to just experience that. Come on out. It'll be on this Sunday from 10 to 3. I'm Freddy Vasquez. Thank you. Have a great night, folks. I appreciate you. Thank you. Love you, Yonkers. Love you so much, Yonkers. Will, I'll see you there then. I'll definitely see you there. I hope to see you there. Come take a ride with me, Will. Make sure you take a ride, Will. We got to go for a ride. Take care, folks.
I know you have a lot of women that work in your office. And I was also told that you favor some over others. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. Please elaborate on that. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity. But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity. Let's get it popping.
Thank you, folks. That was your Basement Politics episode for tonight. I am Freddy Vasquez. As always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing the podcast. And please continue to reach out to me. Give me information. A shout out to my informant, Freddy, up in City Hall. Yeah, girl. We're getting it, girl.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Thank you for the information, boy. I'm killing them. They're like, what the? How was he doing that?
In another one, Mr. Rubo lied to me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
Rubo, you liar.
Freddy wins. Fatality.
Definitely will. Let's go. We'll take a blast. It'll be fun. I'll see you there. I'll be there early. Maybe it'll be a little before 10. You like that? Like that, Jen? Got that today.
I know you have a lot of women. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. I know you have a lot of women. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy. But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity.
Freddy